Murder's a mortal sin. You go to hell for murder.
When products such as games, movies and books are being shipped to multiple countries, it's noticeable that their box art changes to suit the local audiences. This can leave one box looking better and more professional, and others looking cheap and have a feeling that less or little effort has been put in. It can be disappointing to only have one cover to choose from, knowing that others have better. Silent Hill Downpour was the last main entry into the series. It tells the story of Murphy Pendleton, a convict being transferred to another prison when the bus he's in crashes, and he, as well as other passengers on board, find themselves in the haunting town of Silent Hill. Fighting with his past, his guilt, and his emotional state, Murphy fights his way through the new area, the southeastern side of the town. While it wasn't as horror-filled as the previous entries and had some clunky fighting mechanics, it still stood up as a game full of life and atmosphere with an emotional story to tie it all together. Here I would like to compare cover art for the game's European, North American, and Japanese releases. Just to note that these are the main covers and special or limited editions will not be counted in this video. This is the European cover art. Right off the bat, it's clearly a horror game that has a lot of twisted and horrific themes coming from the scratched and worn looking sleeve, the silhouette of Howard Blackwood under a street lamp that somewhat resembles a doorway, the eerie looking font of the title, and most noticeably, the large disfigured face on the left which is being painfully restrained. Now I really like the colours on this box. The green illumination of the lamppost give a nice eerie glow, and the browns and oranges give it that classic Silent Hill feel within the otherworld. The pitch black silhouette of Silent Hill's resident postman gives it a great sense of mystery and unknown, as this character was first introduced in this game.
Still in town, I see.
Just haven't found a way out yet.
If I had a nickel for every time I heard that.
And not much is known about him, even with his appearance in the game Book of Memories for PS Vita.
Life moving so fast these days, people end up all kinds of places.
I love the scratches and worn look of the box that always make art look much better when going for the horror theme. In Silent Hill's case, it can mean a lot of things, from desperation of trying to get away, which is very appropriate in the case of prisoners, scars that have affected people physically and mentally, amongst a lot of other interpretations. The cover also shows rain, which is one of the main features of this game, as it warns you of incoming creature attacks, signifies the change to the other world, and gives a glimpse into the mystery behind Pendleton's depressing incarceration. But sadly, it's hardly as noticeable as the rain blends into the scratches and the theme gets lost upon first glance. Honestly, I think the artist of the box should have stopped there, only having Howard in the middle, possibly a little larger, but give him the more prominent role on the box, even if it is about Murphy and his journey. The face on the left looks like a last minute decision, and it really makes the box look cluttered and unappealing. It causes the box to look unbalanced, with too much happening on the left hand side and not enough on the right. Sure, it does show the horror aspect, and the restraints give the idea of prison and prisoners of fate, but it just looks out of place. One of the great things about Silent Hill is that it's about the monsters in your own mind and facing up to your actions. Therefore, less is more, and subtlety is key. Having one of the creatures right on the box seems to take that feeling away. On the other hand, judging from the short tuft of brown hair that we see in the corner, this monster could in fact be Murphy himself. He's become a monster in his eyes due to what happened to him and what he went on to do, murdering the man who killed his son. In that respect, it's a good idea to have the main character on the cover, but without knowing it for sure, makes it seem more like a quick effort to make the game look scary. The North American cover is a lot more prominent on what the game is about and a step far in the right direction for design choices. The Silent Hill logo is a classic font with a nice orange, brown and white glow behind it, very significant of other Silent Hill titles, and it instantly brings back the good memories of survival horror games. It works surprisingly well against the black and white background of Murphy holding the fire axe in the rain. The contrast blends amazingly and makes it stand out as one of the better box arts. Some may disagree, feeling that this cover is too plain, but as I said before, less is more and subtlety is key. The orange glow surrounding the title to me comes off as fire and gives a depressing sense of damnation into the nightmare world that is Silent Hill. The image of Murphy behind is a lot more giving of the theme of the game. It may not be instantly noticeable, but he's wearing a jumpsuit which signifies he's an inmate, and to the audience, Knowing that he's going into Silent Hill with a crime to his name means that he is not in for a good time. The axe in his hand also signifies violence, not only to the creatures around him, but his personality too. Is Murphy a violent man? Is he a killer? Is he right in the head? It gives a darker and grittier tone than the other boxes do, and actually makes you question the lead character himself. After all, James from Silent Hill 2 seemed like a nice and ordinary guy looking for his wife, but that all changed when we saw the revelation that followed. Of all three covers, this is the one that best points out that rain is a prominent feature in the game, ignoring the title Downpour. Here we see Murphy trudging through the rain as pointed out by the large white splashes around his feet and the vicious strokes falling to the bottom left and the way the water is being thrown from his axe blade. Having the title be surrounded by the orange glow almost feels as if the rain is causing the other world to come out and engulf Murphy into another trial of horror. Personally, I find this box the best out of all of them for its idea to reject clutter and keep it simple. The Japanese cover comes in a very close second with its personal feeling of pain and sorrow, and favouring a more supernatural and ghostly theme that Silent Hill is more known for. Plucking at the human emotions and soul, and playing on the player's fear of situations that can be easily found in the real world, twisting them and allowing them to endure these manifestations come to life. The title for this version features the word Silent Hill Downpour, with a small town shown above it. This is the previously unexplored southeastern region of Silent Hill, its name unknown, but fans have come to know it as the Downpour District. The blues, whites and greys give a better symbolism of water and less of a fiery damnation. The look of the bitter and chilling cold from the rain, fearing for your own safety, and every time rain or water appears these feelings come forth. These shades of blues and greys also give a better sense of the ghostly and paranormal happenings from inside the town, heavily symbolising death and loneliness. The way the character is on the front, assumed to be Murphy himself, looks very similar to a man screaming, but I feel that this can be taken in a couple of ways that fit in with the theme. First of all, Murphy is standing next to a window screaming, wanting desperately to escape, the water reminding and taunting him of his past. And with the water comes the condensation on the windows, which gives the cover its smudged look, trapped in a room that's slowly filling up. The second is Murphy drowning and becoming overwhelmed by the downpour and the water he's slowly dying in, his mouth agape, struggling to breathe, let alone cry out for help. The smudges look like the trail from the air pockets underwater as he descends deeper. And thirdly, less about the water and more about his mind. From the way his face seems to be smeared, it's like his soul is being torn from his body and he's losing himself within his own nightmare, his hands pressed hard against something in front of him, blocking him, keeping him there, and causing him to cry out in fear or pain. Everywhere is a prison for him. One thing this box does that the other two don't is also give off the feeling of sadness and anguish. The European cover showed the fear, while the North American one showed violence, but now the Japanese one shows emotion. Murphy is visibly in pain here, but it doesn't seem to be because of any kind of physical trauma that has been inflicted upon him. It looks more to be his memories and his mind, which affects every unlucky person who has come to or been called to this town. The blues and greys represent sadness, tears, depression, sorrow. This cover gives a more personal insight into who Murphy is, and knowing what he did for what purpose gives a better understanding of his character as a whole.